Alive! Ta-da!
Hi everyone! The numbers are going to soar any second.
Yes, as you can see, we are not Andy and Dave.
I hope not.
You've got even better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll wait till we start to see some comments come in, shall we?
Yes, I'm going to check on I'm going to do the usual Andy thing.
And I'll bring
check.
up the team on my phone.
Let's see, are we live? Are we live? Maybe we are.
I've not got anyone coming yet.
Who's going to be the first comment? Who is it usually? Could be Jerome, I guess.
Hopefully Jerome.
I think we are. I think I see you live.
Richard, hi!
Hi, Richard Johnston. Hello, Yeti folk. Hello. There we go. Yeah, we're all good. Let us know if you can hear us loud and clear. You can see us. No problems there. A few more.
Okay, we're set up. We're ready to go.
All good
There's
to go.
4 people. Who's there, guys? Say hi. Jodie's on the questions.
Jodie on comments. Good sound. That's good to know.
Thank God, because it would be a long hour otherwise.
Thanks for letting us know. How are you, Rosie? How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm excited about this one because we've got some very special guests.
Do we?
We're excited to introduce, aren't we? So we'll wait for a few more people to kind of
trickle on,
and then we'll get going because we're talking all about training today.
Yeah.
And that's something that we talk about a lot in the office, don't we? When we have a trip coming up, and
yeah.
I've got a trip with Jodie obviously coming up soon, so it's Tour de Mont Blanc.
Jealous.
Really excited. We've got a group out there now, actually. So
we do. Is that our first group?
Yeah, that's our first group.
Nice,
so
nice.
Testing it out for us. So yeah, really excited. Andrew, hi.
Hey. Hello, Andrew.
So yeah, I'm really excited to kind of hear more, learn more from the guys about kind of training and what works for them and adapting my training. In ways. So, yeah.
Awesome. That's exciting. Yeah.
Exciting.
Carol, hi. Looking forward to seeing Hannah and Jaci.
Was on the same trip as them. Brilliant.
There we go, guys. Awesome.
Familiar faces.
Awesome. That's fantastic.
Shall we just get into it?
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah.
And then I suppose a few more people are going to start trickling in. Oh, Adam's here. Hi, Adam.
I've fired a few questions over about Kili.
Brilliant. Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. When's he going now? Is it in October? Obviously we'll see Adam at the training weekend as well. Which will be nice instead of we've just been nattering about that, haven't we?
We have. Yeah. That's very exciting. Looking forward to that.
Perfect. Cool. So yeah, like we said, today is all about training.
It is.
And we're going to kind of talk a little bit about how we all train for our trips as they kind of come up and get closer and closer and stuff like that. Talking about kind of how we kind of fit that training into our busy schedules, so to make sure that we're able to be consistent and actually making a difference to our fitness and not going crazy and injuring ourselves. So that's the aim of today, isn't it, Zach?
Yes, 100%. And sort of different levels of fitness and 100%. Sort of backgrounds and stuff. Because both of us, because we've done a fair bit of trekking now, but we've kind of come from quite different
100%. And we have really different approaches when it comes to our fitness and comes to preparation. So it's going to be really interesting and hopefully for you guys reassuring as well, because I know sometimes when you hear what other people are doing, it can be a little bit like, oh shit,
yeah,
I can't fit that into my schedule.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy running miles and miles and miles.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just about what we can all do to find a training that's going to help us prepare for the trip, but also kind of be something that we enjoy as well. That's so important, isn't it?
Yes, 100%. We've got a few more comments. Hey, Mark Van Rossum, how you doing? Adam, yeah, awesome. Well, should we
let's get going? Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Delve into it. So, should we have a bit of a drum roll?
Please welcome.
Right, first off, we've got Hannah. And we got Jaci. Hello. Oh, hang on, we've gone a bit funny here. Let's should we let's move
up close and personal.
There we go. That's all right.
Perfect. That's great.
That's fine.
So Hannah, you work for the Altitude Centre, don't you? So some people on the live or tuning in might recognise you from the Altitude Centre if they're kind of coming to see you guys to do some pre-acclimatisation and stuff like that.
Yeah, based down in London. So some people might be coming down to prepare with us or kind of find out how they deal with altitude. And in the other hand of it, some people might just be borrowing machines from us. So we might never see their faces, but yeah, definitely.
Awesome. And Jaci, you're Hannah's mum and were dragged along, weren't you, to Kili?
I was, yeah. It's probably unfair to say dragged along. I sort of, invited myself along was probably the best way to describe it. But yeah, I did. And I have to admit my nervousness, sort of having invited myself on this trip, was thinking I was going to be A, the oldest person in the group, B, the least unfit person in the group, and the least well prepared, because I kind of decided 8 weeks before I went to go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was a bit of a baptism of fire.
And can you both just talk a little bit about kind of your backgrounds and like what fitness levels of fitness you kind of had before you even kind of decided you were going to embark on a trip like this, and what was kind of your outdoor experience before deciding to do Kili?
I'll let you go first, H.
I was being polite. No, so yeah, my sporting background is hockey. I'm a field hockey player back at university, back at home. Growing up doing that. Walking wise and trekking wise, at university it's been a lot more difficult, a lot harder to kind of get out, and especially when you're based kind of in Loughborough, there's hills either side, so that's as much as we've got. But back in school, we did kind of Yorkshire Three Peaks Challenge and stuff like that, and then Gold Duke of Edinburgh. That was probably my longest experience walking so far, probably 5-6 days. But aside from that, to be honest, I always keep my fitness up via hockey. But our family have a tendency to start a Three Peaks adventure and then not finish them. So growing up, we did Penny Ghent was the one we didn't do out of the Three Peaks of Yorkshire. And Ben Nevis was the one we never did, in the UK. So actually, adding Kili to the list has topped them all.
Yeah. Jaci, how about you? Where were you at fitness wise before? Have we lost her?
Oh, I think we might have a frozen Jaci.
That's always good, isn't it?
We'll see if she comes back. We'll leave her there. We'll carry on. We'll see if she can rejoin us in a second. Oh yeah, we have lost her. Hopefully she'll tune back in once her wife. Oh,
there we go. I think there we
go.
Nothing like a few tech issues, is there? Hello, good. Jaci.
I've switched onto my phone in the hope that it's slightly more reliable.
Perfect.
No worries.
Perfect.
Same as last word.
So Hannah was just telling us a little bit about training kind of before, or kind of experiences beforehand with the outdoors and stuff. Could you just talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I guess on a personal level, I try and keep myself averagely fit. I swim. I'm also a hockey player, so there's a bit of a connection there. So I guess that side of things, I've always had a bit of a base fitness. But in terms of ahead of the trip, we've done a bit of walking. You'll have heard Hannah say we dragged the kids as they were growing up on various, sort of challenges, sort of locally in Yorkshire and a bit further afield into the lakes and we've done Snowdon and stuff, and into the Brecon Beacons as well over the years. But more recently, I hadn't really done a great deal, if I'm really honest. And that was one of my sort of fear factors, which was I hadn't done a lot of walking before the trip. And the weather over, the Christmas period this year was atrocious. So getting out and about into the hills was actually quite hard. So I took it upon myself to walk to work was my approach. And anybody who knows Leeds knows that it's not renowned for its hills. and it's an interesting walk to work when you work in the city centre. So but I was just trying to get legs, miles in my legs, really, just to sort of remind myself how that felt day in, day out, so that it didn't come as too much of a shock when it actually came to setting off. But I suppose the one thing that there was absolutely I was fortunate in some ways, was the altitude side of things, which I was a little bit nervous about as well. So
yeah. I mean, you raised such a good point there, because there are so many things that we can incorporate kind of into our day-to-day routine without really thinking, I'm having to really go out of my way here to incorporate training. Walking to work, taking the stairs, it's all stuff that we talk about quite a lot in the office, isn't it? Of just it's all about kind of being able to pick something that you're going to be able to consistently do, and that's what makes the difference, doesn't it?
100%.
So for people who do have a busy schedule, if you are able to walk to work, bike to work, something like that, it does make a huge difference. 100%. So Hannah, where did your kind of training start then?
We'd kind of spoken about the trip with kind of the company, and what's great about working here is that when you come in, it's kind of like the initiation. Is every member of staff has done Kili, and working closely with you guys in EverTrek, everyone has such a positive experience and such a lot to say about it that it makes you go, right, okay, well, when am I going to do it then? When can I find the time in the year? And February just happened to be work for you guys, work for us. So it was probably around November time, October time, that it was officially booked in. And this year, being based in central London, I'm not playing hockey. So it was, right, how can I find 20 minutes during my lunch break to go and walk in, climb on the treadmill? And, how can I incorporate runs to fit the amount of steps I want to do into the short kind of period of time I actually have, because I don't have the luxury of being able to take 2-3 hours a day to go, walk on the treadmill or go for a long walk around London. So it was about condensing that. And I found that incline walking was a massive thing, and kind of overtraining in the aspect of carrying 20 kilograms rather than 10, filling up my water bottles and just putting weights in my rucksack rather than because not everyone has access to a big weight or a weighted vest or anything. So it's what can you actually do? And the reality is you'll carry water and you'll carry clothes. So that's what I did. And it was to do with fitting that in and around work shifts, really.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Zach, do you want to talk a little bit about your training? Because you have a really cool way of adapting it into your
I guess so. Well, yeah, because I'm a dad and I've got a little toddler who's 2 now, and so that was kind of one of my main challenges of right, how am I going to fit my training, around my kid? But it's solvable. I got like a sort of a baby carrier, and I just sort of went out and just took him out with me, did a load of sort of exercise with that. I tried to go out in the hills, but it ended up getting a little bit dangerous. So I was like, you can do it up to I didn't do anything like to, but so I tried to keep it quite sensible. But because we lived in a flat at the time in the apartment, so literally I went up and down the stairs like a load of times with him on my back, and like that type of stuff, and just doing as much sort of general walking, even if it's just on on flat land.
I mean, like, I've spoken to customers before who we've been having a conversation about training. I said, like, oh, do you have a gym membership? Do you like going to the gym? And quite often no, I hate the gym. I don't want to go anywhere near the gym, which is absolutely fine. You definitely don't need to have a gym membership, but exactly what you're saying, going up and down those stairs a few times, if you're living in a city that is flat, finding a car park, that was a good suggestion. Going up and down those stairs, anywhere that you really can, try and be creative and find some sort of incline, getting your day pack on with a little bit of weight on, in it, really does strengthen your legs,
100%,
even and doing lunges in the kitchen and a few squats during ad breaks when you're watching the telly. It all adds up massively, and you don't really realize, but it's going to be stuff that you're really grateful for when it comes to when it comes to your trip, because that leg strength is so important.
You're going to need it for Kili, especially.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, not to veer off, but do you guys want to talk a little bit about your Kili trip and, you know, what you wish was there anything that you wish you'd incorporated into your training that you didn't? Or anything you wish you knew?
Yeah, no, I would say I was fortunate. So one of the things I did, because I kind of left it quite late in the day, so I sort of had this sort of 8-week window of going, shit, I need to get fit and feel prepared for this. So I actually went down to the altitude centre and I had an assessment because I was a bit worried about the altitude side of things.
Yeah.
And I did one of their assessments to kind of understand, you know, what my natural predisposition was to altitude. So that gave me a little bit of peace of mind. And then I borrowed a machine. So I had one of the machines shipped to my home, and spent many evenings sat. Yeah, here we go.
Oh, here we go.
On my bike. So I had to do. So the plan was to do stuff at rest, and so passive and active. So I sort of sat watching, you know, mindless television in the evening whilst sort of almost falling asleep with the sort of mask on. But I also sat on my bike. So I set my static bike up in the back room and just kind of did slow and steady kind of stuff on the machine, just to get really to understand how I would feel, I think was the main thing, because I think that was one of my biggest anxieties, was how am I going to feel when we're out there? And to have had some experience of that beforehand, I found really helpful. And just knowing, you know, when I took the mask off, I felt a little bit heady or a little bit woozy, but nothing, you know, I wasn't falling over or passing out or anything like that. But it just gave me a sense of what that might feel like. I found it really useful.
Yeah.
Hannah, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in a very fortunate position where I work, but another kind of the other side of it is I therefore get a lot of questions, and I'm someone who's probably very easily influenced. So my Google tabs were, you know, there was a lot going on when I was training, and one thing that I didn't even think about whilst training was my bladder. All my friends joke I've got the bladder of a toddler, and I do. And actually thinking in my head, you know, clients asking me, so how much should we be drinking? I realized I wasn't preparing for that. I hadn't even thought about that side of it. You know, 5 liters of water a day is a lot for a human to consume. I don't even say I do 3 liters a day. So actually slowly building that up into my training was probably one of the hardest bits for me, because you kind of have to get used to feeling a little bit uncomfortable. And then once you're there, you realize actually you don't really need the toilet during the day, because that water's keeping you hydrated. But it's getting used to what it feels like to consume that volume of water. And that was definitely a kind of something I had to incorporate. And also the aspect of training downhill. We get a lot of people coming in and saying, you know, I'm building my knee strength by doing squats and box steps and lunges. And that's absolutely brilliant. But when it comes to going up, you can lose breath, stop and catch it. The second you're going downhill and your knees start to hurt, well, you can't stop and that goes away. The second you start again, your knees are back at that point. And you know, I incorporated about 10 minutes of walking backwards on a treadmill, which sounds utterly ridiculous and does look utterly ridiculous. And just in a day to kind of slowly build up my knee strength, because I'm someone that notoriously has weak knees, and I knew that going into the trip. I do think it's good. I think it's realistic and good for people to know. You know, I mean, Carol's on the call. She'll support me in this. Going up, they'd say today will take 4 hours, and it would always take us less. On the way down, they'd say today will take us 4 hours, and it would always take us more. And it's because of knees, and it's because, you know, you can't. Once your knees hurt, you can't backtrack on that. You can't stop that from happening. And it's about just slowing the pace down and reading your body and preparing for that as much as possible.
Poles. Can I just say poles?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'd never walked with, in fact, that's a lie. I did one walk and I borrowed somebody's poles just to understand what that would be like. And I was wanging them around going, I don't get this. This is a bit weird. But but on the trip, what a difference. Oh my God. My knees were saved for taking walking poles and actually learning to walk with them properly on the trip. I would say practicing before was a good idea, because I did find them all a bit wangy and not quite sure where to put them or what to do with them. But actually on the trip, unbelievable. I didn't realize how much I'd rely on them.
I was exactly the same as you, Jackie. I was like, poles. I was like, no. I was like, no, my knees are fine. I was like, I'll be fine. Never struggle going downhill, but my God, are you grateful for them just to have something to lean on? And it was another conversation I was having with a customer not so long ago. Who were like, oh, really just don't think we're going to take poles. And I said, please, even if they just sit on your day pack for the entire time, which I'm confident that they won't, take them with you, because my God, like, you'll be grateful for them. And they're always, top of my list when I pack for a trip now,
No, I always take them out with me. I mean, going up with downhill, my least favorite thing ever when I'm trekking is downhill. I cannot stand it. Especially, well, you guys will know, but on Kili summit night, and you've summited, and then you're coming down, and it's just like Marble Alley, and you just
absolutely brutal.
It was the longest few hours of my life, just sliding down the. How was that for you guys coming down?
I would totally agree with you. I mean, our summit, and Carol's on, and by the way, I'm just going to have to do a shout out thank you to Carol to the loan of a sports bra and a pair of socks. We can explain perhaps a bit more about that later, but no, I mean, the actual, we had a horrific weather on our ascent, as we left sort of 11. So it was really stormy, really blizzardy, to the point where actually some groups were coming back down. I think we were quite a determined group, so that was never going to happen. But yeah, it was, you got to the top. We had very little visibility, so and it was very, very cold, so there was no sort of hanging around. But I mean, the sense of achievement was immense. But I absolutely hadn't planned for the fact that we weren't up there for long before we were turning back down, and actually the sort of 4 hour, as you say, slip and slide back down to camp. Was brutal. It was, and that was when, and particularly one chap in our group, and John, won't they'll forgive me for saying, but really did struggle with his knees on the way down. And actually, after that initial 4 hour descent, and then a subsequent 5 hour descent after we'd had some lunch, we were all absolutely battered that day, and it was probably more so from the descent than it was actually the summiting. So but that was brutal on the knees, really brutal.
It's nasty.
I mean, as someone who really does struggle with their knees, like, in physio for them, they are problematic now. I think that's something really important to say, is if you know that these things are a problem for you, obviously make sure you're doing as much as you can in your training to help with strengthening those areas, but also coming prepared with kit. I know when I go out on my trips, I've got a gel that I put on my knees that helps with the pain. I go with the KT tape, the K tape.
Right,
and I strap up both of my knees, which was a look in Morocco, because then my knees burnt. And then I had a really nice decorative tan lines around my knees.
That's nice.
And also, I think on summit day, when I did tube cal, I also put on knee supports as well. So I was strapped up, but it's that extra support that, it's so important to make sure that when you're packing, that you are really prepared, because you can do everything that you can fitness wise, but once you're there, you can't strengthen them anymore. You're going to have to perform. And the last thing you want to do, and I remember seeing a girl coming down, and she was floods of tears, and she's like, my knees are so painful, and she had this huge knee support on, and it was obviously causing her an issue before, but she'd really struggled, and I don't know what her training kind of was before, but just be mindful, when you're doing that, everything that you can do. The bear hug. Oh, Jackie's gone again.
She's useless, isn't she?
Sorry, hopefully back. Apologies. No, I know. Probably
makes it more
child
interesting.
in my house doing TikTok videos. Who knows?
Not revising for her GCSEs.
That's okay.
Carl's just said the bear hug knee compression supports as well.
Yeah.
Give a big thumbs up to your
Thumbs
supplies.
up bear
Yeah,
hug,
yeah.
yeah.
I've used other knee supports before, but I will say the bear hug ones have been brilliant and are in my gym bag constantly.
Yeah, they're great.
So yeah, huge shout out to bear hug. Yeah, they've been brilliant, fantastic.
Yeah. I'm just having a look just to see if there's any comments while we're talking, just that if we've missed anything.
Oh no, Andrew Scott says he sold his Jeep 4 months ago and left poles inside. Yeah, definitely go and get some new
like
ones
Dave,
before.
That's
exactly
Dave
what I thought.
Dave's done that.
Dave has no awareness on where any of his kit is. I'm absolutely sure of it. I think he just stumbles across it, scattered, and ends up leaving.
One thing we did learn about poles just was that I sort of thought attaching them to my day bag as hand luggage would be a good idea on the way out and on the way back. And on the way out, we were fine. On the way back, I had to wrap them in about 50 layers of cellophane at Kilimanjaro Airport, because they weren't happy with them as a sort of hazard on a day pack. So I felt like a bit of an amateur, it has to be said, on the way back. But
but the great advice.
There we go. Yeah.
Put them in your bag.
I know room does get tight when you're packing for a trip. Is there anything else like that though that you wish you'd prepared for, wish you'd brought with you, that you just hadn't really thought of?
Well, I suppose from my perspective, I've got a massive thank you to a blog article to the EverTrek guys. I can't remember. I think it was one of Andy's articles that I read literally a few days before we left, that talked about putting your walking boots in your hand luggage, which proved to be particularly relevant when my bag didn't turn up in Kilimanjaro. So my kit bag that I'd spent weeks and weeks and weeks, begging, borrowing, stealing kit to prepare with the numerous kit lists. But I happened to read an article and I thought, oh yeah, that's a good idea. I'll stick my walking boots in my hand luggage. Good idea, that. So hence the shout out to Carol for the sports bar and the pair of socks, because actually I did manage to summit Kilimanjaro with not a lot of kit of my own, and begged and borrowed from the group. But also from the hotel where we stayed, higher place as well. And my claim to fame is I did summit Kilimanjaro with one pair of pants, because all of my underwear was in my kit bag. So but yeah, no, massive shout out. Had I not read that blog article, I would have been in all sorts of bother. So put your boots in your hand luggage for sure.
Oh, there we go. I wonder if Jodie can find that article and post it in the comments.
Yeah, Jodie, that's a mission.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed we can. Shall we start reading through some of these questions?
Yes. Yeah.
And then I'm
fine.
sure we'll have a little chat. I'll keep looking. Right, we're at the top.
The top.
Usual question from Tom. He's concerned about his fear of heights. This is for Killy. But he smashed DBC. And he's vegan. So will that be covered on the trek?
On the Killy?
Yeah.
Killy trek?
This for Killy.
Well.
So heights, should we do first?
Okay. So fear of heights. I don't know. Well, I'm not fond of heights at all.
Are you not?
No. But I don't know.
Were there any moments? Were there any like drops that you?
No, not on Kilimanjaro as far as I remember. I mean, on Tubkel, which is kind of weird because obviously it's not.
If he's done EBC with all the bridges, that would.
Oh yeah,
100%. But he was obviously able to do that.
100%. Those bridges.
You don't have that on Killy, do you?
No, like suspension bridges or anything like that on like EBC. So I think if you can do the suspension bridges, Kilimanjaro, I think you'd be fine. I'd say the only day, I don't know if you both agree with me, that is a bit more sort of scrambly would have been the Barranco Wall.
Yeah.
And it's not like proper climbing or anything, but there's a moment where you have to kind of come across sort of I think they call it the kissing rock, sort of around a rock, which I didn't think it was too bad. But I know I've heard of some people that, you know, that day is kind of, you know, could be a bit of a struggle. What do you both think for on Barranca Wall?
Oh, it's my favourite day.
We had the whole group. We kind of discussed it before we went, and actually, it's one of my favourite days, hands down. And one of the women in our group, Carol, was really worried about it. I mean, she's just put in the chat, and genuinely, we did the whole thing, did the kissing wall. I had clocked that's what we were doing, and we got to the other side, and Carol made a comment like, "Oh, yeah, I'm really nervous for the kissing wall," and we were all like, "Oh, you not even realise you've just done it? You haven't even clocked."
There we go. Yeah. No.
So hopefully,
it's not that bad. It's not.
He'll be absolutely fine. And then in terms of
the guides were great as well. It's worth saying the guides were great because they make sure they're behind you, so there is absolutely no fear factor at all. They make you feel really safe and secure.
Yeah,
they've always got one hand on your backpack and push. I was literally pushed up the summit by I think it was God Living, one of our guides, and he was
same.
Oh, did you have God Living? Oh, there we go. He literally slid me down, like he had me like this, and we literally just sort of ran down. But he was pushing me up the whole way as well. So he's amazing. Yeah.
It makes such a difference.
Yeah. They've always got you back. Yeah.
And then food, I suppose. So
food, yes.
Vegan's never an option as long as the team know here and are able to pass that on. That's something that we can definitely cater for. You know, lots of people are vegan, vegetarian, obviously.
Yeah, just let us know. Yeah.
So as long as we've got it noted on our side, the team will be aware of that. But
the food is great on.
Yeah, I was about to say everyone
the
always comes back and says the food's amazing.
Yeah, plenty of options. You know, you've got everything really. And it's great, the little mess tent that you have, and you know you can just chat in there and eat. It's good.
You do find yourself thinking, how have they got a bouquet of flowers to 4,000 meters
in the middle of the table?
Yeah, just like I know I'm struggling to climb, and they're bringing all these decorations to make us.
Yeah.
my Go on, sorry, go on.
Oh no, you go.
No, I was just going to say my colleague Maisie went about with you guys 2 weeks before me, and she came back and said same thing. Food absolutely amazing. She took loads of snacks, and actually it was just dead weight that she wished she didn't have in her bag. But I would say from personal experience, I'm not a breakfast person at all. Even when I'm at sea level, not a breakfast person. So going into that and knowing that I'm an absolute sucker for a Snickers bars, I made sure I had enough snacks in my bag that, I mean, when Mum lost hers, I could cover myself and Mum, but so that if I wasn't up for eating breakfast, I had something like for 11s, because although breakfast, everyone else loved it, it wasn't the food thing, it was personal preference. I'd hate it really early in the morning. So actually just, take that into consideration. If you're not a big fan of porridge, or if you're not a big fan of kind of the other things they have to offer, having something that might, like a brunch bar or something that can keep you going.
Right.
Yeah, 100%. And there's something to be said for that. I mean, you'll have all the food you need, but as well from a morale point of view, I know that if I'm on a trek, having something that I'm really craving or I know that I'm going to look forward to, is a huge boost. I know Dave has his famous story of his Snickers bar on the way down from Kili, and he refused to move. Andy couldn't get him to move. And he said, "Listen, mate, have a Snickers bar." And he said he just felt completely refreshed from it.
Like
so, just like the advert, they should have been filming. It's true. But, those little bits from home can make a huge difference. So, whilst you don't necessarily need to be completely stocking up, it is good to have a few pieces that you're going to want.
Have a few treats with you as well. Yeah. Tangfastics for me.
Is it?
Yeah.
Did they not freeze on the summit night?
They were gone, were they?
They were, they were a little bit. they still tasted nice.
I think one of our group had measured out Percy pigs and had a daily allowance of Percy pigs each day, which I thought was absolutely legendary. Yeah. And Carol's, but I've seen Carol's put a note in the chat saying porridge ? I don't know why she's doubting the the quality and the consistency of that porridge that we had in the morning.
Couldn't.
But I tell you what, it was fuel is probably a more accurate description.
Food
It was
is fuel.
definitely fuel.
Food is fuel.
Yeah.
Right, should we...
You've got quite a few comments here. Yeah,
we have got quite a few to get through. And now I've lost where we were.
I think further down the scroll.
Sorry.
Okay, so we did Adam's question there. Andrew, one of the hardest things for me was walking slowly when going up. The guides were super with their advice and pace setting. Yeah, poly, as they say. Yeah.
I also think there's something to be like when you're training, it's not about kind of speed. And I think that's something, we went for a walk not so long ago, us and some of the team. And I said, "Now, Rosie, slow down." And I'm like, sorry, I just get in my head and I get on with it.
Yeah.
But there is really something to be said for it does feel uncomfortable to slow down that much. You do just kind of want to, you're tired on some days and you're just thinking, get me to camp now.
Yeah.
But, going slowly and if you can incorporate that into your training. I was speaking to someone the other day and we were discussing the Stairmaster in the gym. And it's really not about firing away at it and doing 10 short minutes of, absolutely sweating cobs and, feeling horrible. Going really slowly because that is what the trail's going to be like.
Yes.
And, trying, setting yourself targets that, you're going to increase the amount of time you're doing it because that is what's going to build the strength in your legs. And, you aren't going to be walking for 10 minutes. You're going to be walking for, 4 hours a day. So, getting used to that in your training is something to think about as well, which I think sometimes goes amiss, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
No, definitely. I find with a lot of clients when we have people come and want to acclimatise, we do some high altitude training with them. You're walking at max 2 kilometers per hour on the treadmills, and for especially people who are local to London, that is an alien pace for them. They're used to people pushing them out the way to get the last tube and racing through the streets. But it's completely right. It's a realistic thing. And I always say to people, you need to also kind of not rush to the worst possible scenario in your head, in the sense of if you are walking quickly, the body's more likely to tire, and therefore you are going to struggle with the altitude more. And people go, "Oh my God, I've got a headache. Oh, maybe a bit of tingly fingers. This is altitude sickness, full stop.
Right.
Point blank, this is altitude sickness." And actually, if you slow down, like Rosie said, if you slow down, you walk at a more realistic pace, no one's rushing you to get there, and you drink a lot more water, hydrate yourself. If 20 minutes has gone and that hasn't gone, I would say take paracetamol, and 9 times out of 10, you'll feel absolutely fine. And it's just because you are pushing yourself too much. We find that the group of people that tend to deal with altitude sick or get altitude sickness the most on mountains is blokes between the ages of 20 and about 45. And this isn't for everyone, but stereotypically it's that competitive nature. It's being at the front of the group, getting there quick so we can have lunch. And that's so counterproductive on the mountain. So definitely taking that walking pace into consideration when you're training, it's massively going to help you get used to it.
Yeah. And it does catch up with you as well, doesn't it? Because, the guys that fire off, they may feel fine that day and they may feel fine the day after that. But when it comes to the next day, they're feeling absolutely horrendous because they've just not paced themselves. So we do hear a lot of stories like that.
Yeah. You've got to keep it slow. You got to dial it back a bit.
Slowly.
Poly.
Yeah, exactly. Poly. Did either of you suffer from any sort of altitude sort of problems or headaches or because I know I did, especially on, I don't know which day it was, but it was when we reached Lava Tower. And
that was when I noticed it.
Yeah.
So
how was that for you, Jackie?
So I think we ate lunch at the Lava Tower, and that was the first time I was aware that I don't know whether or not it must have been the sort of amount of altitude in that particular day, or
It's
that
a big
morning.
jump that day.
Yeah, it's a big
isn't
jump
it?
up.
Yeah.
But actually, in fairness, I was aware of it. I took paracetamol and I felt absolutely fine. Our group was an interesting mix. There were probably half the group had opted to take Diamox and half hadn't. But sadly, we don't therefore have a categorical scientific outcome for you, because we didn't have one person who did both and has done it twice. But I would say that I had a couple of days where I experienced a sort of headachy feeling, but paracetamol for me cleared it. And then actually on the night that we summited, where you do actually put on quite a lot of altitude, that last climb, I think I was more focused on the fact that there was a blizzard and I couldn't see, and I was almost in some form of a trance-like state, that I didn't notice the altitude at all. And actually I felt great. Yeah, so that was a surprise for me. I know Hannah's experience was a bit different, so I can let her explain.
No, I had a similar thing on Lava Tower. Myself and another one in the group, Debs, we got to the top and we both very headachy. And that day I had ignored my mum's jabbing on at me to put sun cream on my forehead, because it was just sunny. It wasn't hot, but it was just sunny, and I had the reddest forehead I've ever seen. I don't normally sunburn, but I forgot, as you get higher up, it's probably something you need to focus on a little bit more. And so myself and Deb, same thing, water, paracetamol, and actually it went away. And it was in my head, I jumped to the worst thing. I was like, oh my goodness me, I'm feeling sick, this must be altitude sickness. And it was just dehydration. And I just needed and that was it. I just needed water, I needed some paracetamol, I needed to stop, fuel myself, and then go again. And actually I was absolutely fine. But then on the summit day, we got to about 5,400 meters, and we kind of sat down behind a rock. It was a complete blizzard, and I felt really, really drunk, and I was just like swaying completely. And I looked our Jaci, our guide, in the eyes, and I was like, "You need to tell me what height we're at, please," because he'd been purposefully not telling us. And he was like, oh, no, come on, it's a secret. We'll get there when we get there. And I was like, no, I really, really need to know. I feel really, really unwell. And he told me where we were, and he just gave me a bottle of Coke, which I would say is phenomenal. They look after us so well. And I took the Coke and just immediately threw up. And he was like, it's because it gets out the system. Rowers notoriously use bottles of Coke because it kills good bacteria, it kills bad bacteria, it gets rid of everything in the stomach. And I sat down on the rock and I was like, this is it. I feel really, really bad. And it was like ridiculously cold temperature. And our guide said to me, so are we going up or are we going down? Because you can't sit still, it's really cold. And I was like, mentally in my head, the fact that up was still an option was like, right, well, I'm going up until he says to me, so when are we going down? Because actually, I wasn't as bad as I thought I was. I'd just been hit at this point, and then I spent the next hour and a half, 2 hours, breathing so deeply. It was like Darth Vader was on the mountain with me. But actually, it made me feel so good, and I knew that was a breathing technique that would help because I tried it here at altitude before I'd gone, and I just completely forgot about it until that very moment. And then I felt absolutely fine all the way up, all the way down. And actually, it's another one of those things of knowing techniques that help you along the way. And that I do kind of owe it to the guides as well, that we spoke to other groups in the hotels who said, we had to come down. It was the weather was appalling. I mean, I think I've got a summit picture here. Here we go. That was the weather on our summit.
Wow.
Oh wow, cool.
And it was complete blizzard. And a lot of people in the hotel we spoke to turned around and, they said that's what their guide recommended. And I would, the company that EverTrek worked with, Zara Tour, the people they got in, God living Jaci. And
Jackson, don't forget Jackson.
Sorry, and Jackson, It then becomes a mental thing. It completely becomes a mental thing. And they knew that. And they knew that as long as they were encouraging us, we weren't then going to negative talk ourselves.
Yeah.
That definitely helps.
Yeah. And it's hard to stay calm in those situations and just take a breath and remember those things that you will have told, clients coming into the altitude center a million times. I remember I panicked when I did Machu Picchu, and that was my first time at altitude. And we did it. There's quite a tough acclimatization hike, and I think Diane's on the live, and I think she's done it. And that was really, because you go up to the height of over Mount Toubkal, and as we started to come down, we went with Fee, an old colleague, and she started saying, "Oh, I really don't feel well. Oh God, I've got a really bad. Oh God." And then I thought, and then I go, "Oh, yeah, I feel a bit like that." And oh shit, like, am I going to be okay? And it can be really worrying. But also, I think it's important to remember that when you're pushing your body like that, it's normal to feel shit and want to throw up and have a headache and stuff. And I think, your body just has to, that, is part of the process. And, there are going to be days where you do feel like crap. It's your body doing its thing and just adapting, and you've got to let it do its thing. And just like you said, Hannah, exactly, take a breath. What are the basics that I've been told and been preparing for? Let's do that. Let's take a paracetamol. Let's make sure I'm hydrated, and we go again.
Yeah, and I also think it's extremely important. So if you're feeling like that, as I was, I felt like drunk. I think on Lava Tower, I felt quite drunk, and I had to lie down for a bit. But it's, and obviously on the summit, that's something else. But it's important to always keep your guides, informed of how you're feeling, and just be honest. Because I know for me, because I did struggle a lot on Kili, and obviously kind of being with, from EverTrek, I almost didn't want to say how much I was struggling. I was like, oh, fine, but you've just got to be honest with the guides, and they'll advise you. They know what they're talking about, and they know how to help you. And I was fine, I told Jaci, sounds like we had the same guide. So Jaci, God living. And Jaci is just incredible. He gave me the medication I needed, and just said, all these breathing techniques and stuff like that. I think he even gave one of us a bottle of Coke as well on the summit when we were feeling unwell. So you've just got to be really mindful of that, and communicate.
I would say exactly on that line. The biggest question we get asked here is about Diamox, and it's because there's not a lot out there to educate people on it, and therefore they want something that's going to help them, but it's also, they want to be informed about what it's going to do, and like you said, communication with the guides is, if you're going to take it on the trip, my biggest piece of advice is, and it's weird because you wouldn't really do it with anything else, try it at sea level. Because your body, everyone's body has different side effects. We had one person in our group who needed the toilet all the time, continuously needing to go to the loo. Another person who was completely fine. Another person who had tingly fingers. There's a scale with altitude sickness, and there's a scale with Diamox symptoms. And trying it at sea level is going to tell you before you go, just for 2 days, exactly how you feel with it. And then you're going to go to the mountain informed that your trade-off is, I don't get altitude sickness, but I need a wee every 30 minutes. And that's then your decision to make. But on the communication side of it, also being really open and honest with your guides. EverTrek, another thing that, the company you guys work with and is incorporated into the trip that they do, is the medical checks every night. And they ask you, what have you taken? Paracetamol, malaria, Diamox, anything like that. And then obviously they do your SpO2 readings, which is your blood saturation. And making sure that they know you're on Diamox is also another big thing, because the symptoms are the same as altitude sickness. If you say to them, I've got tingling fingers and I need to go for a wee every 30 minutes, in their heads, if you've not told them it's Diamox, that could be altitude sickness, and therefore
Right.
they could get to a point where they go, you know, you need to go down. I spoke to one of our clients who's just come back from Aconcagua a while ago, right before I came in here, and said to him, you know, what's your experience? You've done a lot of mountains. What's your experience with Diamox? And he said exactly that. As long as the people you're going with are informed that you're taking it, and you know how it's going to make your body feel, you know, then it's informed, and actually everyone's in the know. But that would definitely be my, you know, my biggest piece of advice, because it's a great facilitator. If it's going to make you enjoy your trip, not just survive your trip, brilliant. But it's knowing what that trade-off is.
Yeah,
that's really good advice.
100%.
Yeah.
I just saw a comment from Bri, some good advice. On Kili, I'd recommend taking some skiing goggles for the summit some nights, because the wind can be brutal and make your eyes water. Great advice. Yeah, simple and works. John's asked, does your team take oxygen in case of emergencies? So I believe they don't take the oxygen mask. They measure your oxygen levels every night, don't they? But you know, if it gets to that point, it will be kind of helicopter situation and evacuation. It doesn't really get to that point where you'd be on oxygen. That would mean evacuation. I believe that's the case. I asked this very question to Lucky. Oh, I think someone's having a conversation. Are they?
They're doing their own thing.
Yeah, there's a conversation about poles.
Oh, Lucky poles.
Lucky poles. Black diamonds been thrown around a few times.
Yeah.
Jelly babies don't freeze.
Jelly babies don't freeze. Oh, I wonder what the science is behind that.
I don't know.
Or if that's true or not.
Interesting.
Someone fact check that.
Sugar content, surely.
Yeah.
Carl said, I find weight training so much better to do, so much better than doing too much cardio. Supporting those cranky old joints is a must. Yeah, I mean, I can testify that for me personally as well, I find that this is the case. When I trained for Machu Picchu, I was cardio heavy. I did a lot of Stairmaster, a lot of running, a rowing machine. I've never been I've more recently started running now and kind of getting into it a little bit more, but wasn't enjoying my training. I was being consistent with it. I was a bit bigger than, but I found Machu Picchu extremely hard, and I was really surprised because I'd really, really trained and dedicated a lot of time to do it. Not long after coming back, then a couple of months later, I really switched up my training and started doing weight focused training. Still carrying on with the Stairmaster twice a week, and I tend to do that with a 10k kg sandbag on my back, which definitely isn't necessary, but I just do a 20 minutes twice a week with that on my back. But I then went and did Mount Toubkal, and obviously, you know, it's hard to compare because you know, it's a much shorter trip, but I felt so much stronger. You know, my legs really felt strong. You know, I found like I coped a lot better kind of dealing with those hills and that incline and decline. So, you know, it's about finding something that works for you, definitely. Finding a happy balance. I think, you know, don't poo-poo cardio if you can find something, you know, even if it is just walking on the treadmill on an incline, like you said, Hannah. You know, definitely don't ignore cardio, but I think there's something to be said for, you know, it's you definitely don't need to be running miles and miles in your training to be able to be successful in wherever you are. So that's something you would agree with, Hannah?
Oh, definitely. I mean, people, when we train people with a high altitude, that we start on the treadmills and we start walking at the slow paces, you know, building you up to, we can get up to 6,200 meters, and it's brilliant. But after a few sessions, you will find that you're box stepping, and there's no, you know, for us, it's great keeping you walking on a treadmill in a straight line, but how often do you do that on the mountain? How often does your brain not have to focus on other things? And the great thing about weights training is, so your brain obviously burns through the most oxygen in your body. When you're thinking about more things, when you're stressed, you're going to struggle a lot more with the altitude because you're burning through all the oxygen available. So if you're getting your body used to doing other forms of activities where there's more to think about, there's uneven ground, there's stepping, the physical exertion of weights training as well, whether at altitude or not, it's getting your body more efficient at utilising the oxygen that it has available.
Right.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I didn't know that.
No. There we go.
Fascinating.
Don't be stressed.
So don't think
Relax.
too much. Don't overthink it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly that. What phrase did we get taught on the mountain? They told us it was Nipoa Kachizi, Karma and Dizzy, and Jan the fridge, and it was I am as cool as a banana in the fridge. That's what you should be like.
That's the quote of today.
There we go. Get that tattooed.
Useful Swahili phrase that you'll use on a regular occurrence.
Yeah.
Do you want to read this next one?
Yes. I was just looking at which new word.
I clocked that, and I don't know what I've said.
What have you been making up words?
Probably. Dave says I make up words all the time.
Yeah, Andrew Scott. Which word is that Rosie's taught
Come on,
you?
then embarrass me.
Oh,
I probably
curious.
made up a word. And I just think it's real.
Yeah. Which one? Sorry, Raymond. I've done EBC at Christmas 2023 now booked for Mount Toubkal in October.
Cool.
Nice. And Kilimanjaro next October. Wow. 2025. Age 70 years old. Awesome.
Impressive.
Best thing I've done was joining a gym last July and running the Great North Run for preparation.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
amazing.
That's great. That's
amazing.
So many trips.
That's a huge accomplishment. Yeah, it's nice to have something in the diary for sure. I mean, I think there's something to be said for the gym. It can be really convenient for some people, and it just doesn't work for other people. There really is not like kind of one thing that fits all. I think that's the most important thing to say. But when you enjoy something, you're able to keep at it and make it work, isn't it?
We've got a book recommendation from Carl. I think it was James Barber who advised me to also read The Oxygen Advantage, of which I'm reading at the moment. Have you read that one?
No.
We'll have to.
James obviously is from the Altitude Centre.
Yeah.
So
game changer with oxygen and CO2 management and understanding. Is that something you've read, Hannah?
No, actually, that's also been a recommendation to me. So you're putting me right to shame there, Carl.
There we go. Something to read.
I love that. Well, that's been such a great Tuesday tune-in, and I hope people have found that informative and kind of helped and given you some kind of ideas when it comes to thinking about preparing for your next trip, how you're going to approach your training, and a few helpful tips
loads
and
of
tricks
different
along the way.
Lots of good advice.
For sure.
100%.
Guys, lastly, what have you got next? Is there anything in the diary? Are you taking a break for now?
Yeah.
Nothing planned at the minute from my perspective. I'm still reveling in the achievement of doing something. As I say, I genuinely, and you know what, I take a lot of reading this comment here, this chap who's 70 still doing this stuff. I think one of my big things was really worrying about being the age I am, perimenopausal women, we've got terrible muscle mass and all the rest of it, and I just thought, this was going to be potentially really hard, and I'm just really glad I still decided to do it, and as I say, invited myself on Hannah's trip, but met some really fabulous people and took inspiration from them as well, to find the next adventure and to think not to stop doing these things. Would be my recommendation.
Yeah, great
Say yes
advice.
and do them.
Great advice. Hannah, how about you?
I do. I get asked this a lot by our clients, and definitely on my my to-do list at some point in my life is the Rainbow Mountains. I'd love to go and see them. We watched literally an episode of Race Against the World, and that has put it in my head. So I'd love to do that, but for now my next challenge is final year of university. That is the biggest challenge for me.
Oh, good luck.
That's your
Good
next
luck.
mountain.
Yeah, exactly.
There we go.
Figurative
What
mountain.
about for you guys? Have you guys got anything planned next?
Oh, wow.
I'm going next month to do Tour de Mont Blanc with Jodie.
So cool.
Our running Yeti.
Mm-hmm.
So we have like moments of slight panic, don't we, in the office? Oh God, have you got this? Are you borrowing this from Dave? Oh well, I'll have to find it from someone else then. Little kit panic. So that's going to be good fun.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it will run smoothly and we'll have a fab time. What about you, Zach?
It's a good question. Nothing concrete at the moment. Machu Picchu is kind of on the list, but I to be honest, I'd like to do something a bit more remote in Nepal, sort of Langtang Valley or something like that. Because I've not been to Nepal yet, and I feel like as you know, Yetis, we have to. We should really, go back to our roots.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. It's to be sort of confirmed. Yeah. Exciting.
Thank you so much for your time, guys. Best of luck and huge congratulations on your summit.
Yes,
it's massive.
Thank
you, everyone, and we'll see you. Well, we won't see you next week. The boys will be back. Will we not?
Are you sure?
We'll see. Someone will be here next week.
One of us will be.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.